This is the To Health With That Naturally Healthy in No Time podcast for big health topics taken in small bites. I'm your host, naturopathic Dr. Amy Newsel, and this is Season 1, all about the MTHFR mutation. This week, we're getting to the thing everybody wants to know, which is, how do I actually start taking 5-LMTHF? Once you've adjusted your diet, you have a new baseline. This is your new normal, and it may be great. It may be just getting there, but not great yet. Make sure you give yourself about a month on your new diet. With MTHFR, it's way better to go slow and give your body time to actually adjust to things properly before you jump into something new. So if all of that is going well, you're tolerating a high folate diet well, then you can start to think about adding in an actual MTHFR supplement like methylfolate 5-LMTHF. There are 3 rules for a successful start. 1, always start low. Use the lowest dose you can find. You can always add more, but once you've taken it, it's hard to get it back out, so start with a low dose. Number 2, rule 2 is always go slow. Give your body time to get used to the low dose before you increase it. At least a week, but 2 if you know you're particularly sensitive. It's really common for someone to be able to take something for 3 days and then start to have symptoms because the dose is actually a little bit too high and they're pushing a little too hard. Make changes slowly and be as willing to decrease the dose as you are to increase the dose. There is no right dose for everybody, only the right dose for you. Step number 3, change only one thing at a time. I see it happen all the time that people get excited about a new health journey, they add 5 supplements from the internet research, then they have some kind of symptom, have absolutely no idea where it came from and what's causing it, so they end up dropping all of those supplements. That is not the best path forward. If you can make small changes with only one supplement at a time, you can avoid that problem and you'll always know exactly how you respond to something. Doesn't mean that adding another supplement might not change the dose you need of something you're already taking, but at least it helps you to know where to look. So again, start taking methylfolate. If you've already taken folic acid out of your diet, you've already added in natural folate from food sources, and you've already started a multivitamin or a B complex that does not have folate or B12. If you're tolerating those changes, then you can do it, right? You're at the right stage. Start with the lowest dose. Cut them. If you can only find high doses, cut them or take the powder out of the capsules and divide it. And if you typically react strongly to things, which is actually really common for MTHFR folks, then start lower than you think you might need to. Great, you've started. There are 3 possible reactions to expect. 1, miracle! It starts out as a miracle, although it may feel a little weird the first couple of days just because your body's adjusting, but it's great, right? It's definitely positive. It keeps being a miracle. Everyone is happy. There is much rejoicing. The second possible is bait and switch. Starts out amazing. You love this thing. A couple of weeks later, you find yourself either spackling minuscule cracks in your ceiling at midnight because you have too much energy and can't sleep, which is an overdose, or hating everything and everyone because you feel toxic, which is too much, too fast. The third possible reaction is that methylfolate is the devil. If it always feels bad, there's a good chance you will either never tolerate it or only tolerate tiny doses later on in the process, but these people know pretty quick that it's not for them. It is normal, even with the miracle reaction, to feel a little bit strange for the first few days. So, methylfolate 5-LMTHF is the only form of folate that bypasses the MTHFR enzyme, and that means it can feel a little bit odd. This enzyme has been dysfunctional to some degree your whole life, and your body's going to need a minute to adjust. For me, the only way I could describe it was that my brain felt different, right? That's a useless description, I know, but there wasn't really anything I could put my finger on. It was just different. It has the potential to change your neurotransmitters, your cellular energy, your antioxidant balance, and lots of other things very quickly, so it can feel a little weird. Your body has probably never experienced this before. Outside of a normal adjustment reaction, it's also possible to have just a flat-out bad reaction. The most common ones that I see are anxiety or restlessness, edginess, depression, or difficulty sleeping. Any big uncomfortable symptom should be considered a bad reaction, and if that happens, stop the methylfolate and wait until the symptom clears before you try it again. If the symptom was really bad, try it again at a much lower dose. Even if you can tolerate natural folate in food, you might not handle methylfolate very well. If you have an adjustment reaction but it clears in a few days and you're tolerating the dose of methylfolate that you're taking, that's great news. Stay at that dose for a couple of weeks and then try increasing by a little bit. Dosing is very individual, and there isn't any way to give you a target to work towards, but there will be a right dose for you out there somewhere. It's just a matter of slowly working your way up until you find it. Now, it is surprisingly common to not be able to tolerate methylfolate at all, which, when you think about it, doesn't make a lot of sense because it's bypassing the exact enzyme that is not working optimally. But it's true. It's true. For many MTHFR folks, this is just not an option. If you can't take any methylfolate at all, try folinic acid instead. Folinic acid is metabolized differently than methylfolate, but it is a natural form, like the natural folate in foods, and it's often easier to tolerate for MTHFR folks, even though it still needs the MTHFR enzyme to be activated. If you need a refresher, then you can check out a whole post on it. There's a link, of course, in the show notes. Folinic acid does still go through the MTHFR enzyme, but it bypasses the DHFR slow and DHFR fast. And for many MTHFR folks, it gives them the benefits of natural folate, but it's easier to supplement as a pill form, which natural folate, you'll recall, isn't because it's not shelf stable. And it metabolizes much more slowly than 5-LMTHF, which means that a lot of people have fewer side effects. Once you've taken folinic acid for a while, you might be able to tolerate a tiny dose of 5-LMTHF because some of the accumulated problems from a functional folate deficiency have been probably worked out, so your body might be better able to handle it. If you want to try it, start low, go slow, change only the one thing at a time. You might still find that you can't tolerate it, but this whole journey evolves, so just because something was true when you began this journey doesn't mean it'll be true 3 months in, 3 years in, or 3 decades in. Remember, MTHFR is for life. Next week, I really want to talk about dosing strategies because for many of us, taking the same dose every day isn't a great idea. And after that, we'll dive deeper into what to expect when you first start taking 5-LMTHFR, what to do if symptoms arise, and how to manage reactions you might be having. Thanks so much for listening, and make sure you sign up for the newsletter list on the website tohealthwiththat.com because we've got lots of freebies with a whole lot deeper dive into information that we're giving out. Thank you.